Let's now move on to the United Kingdom, where the Finance Minister is presenting a crucial pre-election budget. Jeremy Hunt has promised permanent tax cuts in his spring budget. It comes at a time when pollsters are reporting that the popularity of the Tories is dropping to a 45-year low. Across all the national polls, the opposition Labour Party is leading by over 20 points. The Chancellor is expected to announce a 2p cut to national insurance. Some reports are also suggesting an additional 1% cut in income taxes. The Treasury has confirmed that the government will use its fiscal headroom to help families with permanent taxation cuts. Now, according to the Treasury's pre-announced plans, the budget will include over $2.3 billion worth of benefits to boost public sector productivity. Additionally, Hunt is expected to announce $458 million in funding to boost research and development, as well as manufacturing projects across the life sciences, automotive and aerospace sectors. The UK economy is in recession with a widespread cost of living crisis in the country. The International Monetary Fund had earlier warned against introducing permanent tax cuts given the need for the country's spending on public services. The focus is now on how the spring budget will turn the tide and boost the Tories before the elections. Stuart Smith is our correspondent and is now joining us live from London. Good to see you, Stuart. Some residents in Britain are kind of skeptical about the budget. Take us through some of the expectations by Londoners ahead of the budget reading.
Yeah, so for people that work and earn a regular salary, one of the cuts that's expected to come as part of this budget being spoken about in Parliament now by the Finance Minister here in the UK is a cut to national insurance. That's effectively an amount of money that people earning a regular income will pay. Should they then lose their job, the government will be able to fund benefit and welfare payments. Now, by cutting that by just 2%, that could save people a few £100s a year is what the estimate is saying, but at a cost of around $12 billion to the UK economy at a time when many institutions, including the United Nations International Monetary Fund, suggest the government should be trying to raise more money in order to invest in ailing public infrastructure in hospitals, schools, the court system that have faced many cuts over the past 13 years of Conservative Party governance of the UK. So it's a risky strategy to an extent because it means the UK may not have enough money to pay for the things it needs. But the hope for the Chancellor in making this statement is that people will recognise the savings to their own budgets and therefore vote Conservative. He tried something almost exactly like this back in November during the autumn budget. It didn't really make much difference to Conservative polling, but he'll be trying again to see if it does and maybe increase the number of people willing to vote for the Conservative Party by a few more percentage points. But at the same time, this budget is expected to potentially lay some traps for any Labour government that makes it into power. The main opposition party is currently expected to take power from the Conservatives at the election, which will almost certainly happen this year, potentially in May, potentially in November. And with this budget, of course, the Chancellor can leave them some tricky problems if they were to inherit the Treasury. But as part of that, some other things expected to be announced using this budget to fund to close tax loopholes on second homes. People that own second homes in the UK currently receive tax breaks. Those will be closed, reportedly. An increase on duty on business class airfares as part of the Conservative Party's commitment to trying to tackle the greenhouse gas emissions problem. And also there's that statement on more funding for AI research and development expected over the next half an hour.
Stuart Smith is in London. And Stuart, before I let you go, we do understand that the Chancellor is already in Parliament and is presenting his budget. Is that so?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. He's seemingly leaving the big headline announcement to the very end of his speech, which is likely the expected tax cut on national insurance. But there's a hint there may be an extra surprise. It's being referred to as a rabbit here, like a magician pulling a rabbit out of the hat. Something extra to entice voters to vote Conservative. It could be a 1% cut on income tax. It may be an even higher cut on national insurance. Just something that voters will recognise and can make headlines in the newspapers tomorrow.
Stuart Smith, live in London. Thank you, Stuart. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.